What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Gideon Smith, and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday, where we share bits and pieces of wisdom about the baking industry. Pardon my nasally voice. At the bakery today, I was attacked by flour, if you believe it or not. So, today we're going to be talking about the subject of the month here in the US. It is National Cookie Month. So, I'm just going to talk about a couple things cookies. And the reason I'm talking about it is, yes, it's the topic of the month, but I am known, maybe to my wife and maybe like two others, as a cookie monster. I love cookies, and I made cookies all throughout college for the football games at Kansas State University, and during the pandemic, during the lockdown part of it, last year in 2020, we made cookies to sell out of our apartment. Yeah, we made cookies all day long and all week long. It was insane. 3,000 cookies a week out of just a standard apartment kitchen. And so, anyways, I wanted to talk about specifically spreading and how to control the spread of your cookies. So, a couple things to talk about beforehand. One is the mixing method of cookies is known as the creaming method, which is you have your fats and your sugars and you blend them together at a medium to high RPM to really coat each granule of the sugar with that fat. That will help give that classic tender and easy bite to the cookie. And so there's a couple types of cookies to talk about. There's your crispy, your chewy, your chunky, your cake-like cookies. There are, your thin, the massive cookies. Their cookies are really all over the board, if you will. And so, you walk down the aisle at the store, and you see your mandolins, you see your Oreos, you see your Chips Ahoys, you see your famous Amos, and the list goes on and on. Keeblers. So there's really a plethora of types of cookies, both on the commercial level and on the home retail side. You go to any potluck or Friendsgiving coming up here soon in November, and I'm sure you guys will run into cookie competitions. So the first thing that we need to discuss outside of the mixing method and the types are your fats. So a lot of the spread issues and elements to control is found in the types of fat that you use. And that's based upon really the melting temperature of the fat and also the temperature of the fat at the stage of mixing. So for example, when your creaming method, the creaming stage, are you using melted butter, room temperature butter, cooled butter, or are you using all-purpose shortening, lard? I don't know if you'd use lard, maybe for like a very, very rich cookie. And there's also 1,000 types of shortenings with different monos and diglycerides. But for example, the melted butter cookie, let's just go on that little rabbit hole for a second. That's going to spread a lot more than one that is using room temperature or especially chilled butter. You want to like hard butter, but room temperature is going to be cool to the touch, etc., etc. And so once you mix it all together, you cream the sugar and the fat, then you're adding the flours and the additives, chocolate chip cookies, walnuts, you name it, there's a cookie with it in it. And you want to either scoop that immediately onto a baking sheet and bake it. That's going to spread like a pancake. The ideal way to do it is to scoop it and let it chill, and then you'll have a tighter cookie spread in comparison to just immediately into the oven. Now, another element of controlling the spread is the type and amount of flour that you use. And the type is specifically tied to the amount of protein in the flour. For example, if you're using a cake flour with a low protein around 9 to 10, you're going to have more of a spread compared to a pastry flour with 10 to 11%, and then a bread flour using a 11 to 12% protein content. Now, the protein content in the flour will of course help create that structure needed to hold all that fat and sugar and additives in place. And so with the weaker protein, the lesser amount of protein, the weaker the structure. And the inverse is true as well. The higher the protein, the stronger that structure will be. So we have tested among the years of sugar cookies with cake, pastry, and bread flour. Same mixing method, same scoops, the amount used, and there is a drastic difference in the spread. It goes from a wider spread, a medium spread, and a tighter spread, respectively, to cake, pastry, and bread. And of course, pastry restaurants and bakeries across the world will always most likely use a blend to achieve the goal that they want. And also to mention, the different amounts of protein will affect the bite. But this video is about the spread. So, another element to control the spread is sugar. Now, sugar, when it melts and heats up, it liquefies. And so the varying amounts of sugar used can affect the amount of spread. And so if you use lower amount of sugar, then it's most likely, dependent if everything else is controlled, going to be a relatively tighter spread cookie. And if you use a larger amount of sugar in respect to everything else being controlled, then it's going to flow, because that sugar has nowhere, it's not being held by anything. There's the ratio of sugar to fat to flour is too great, and so the cookie will spread more. So far we've talked about different types of fats, mixing methods, flours, and then sugars, which all affect the spread of a cookie. So depending on which type of cookie that you are wanting to make and the quality metrics that you are striving for, you should look into these topics more. Always go to bakerpedia.com for your detailed analyses of different ingredients and different processes, but also go to Baker Academy, which is on our website as well. You can sign up for free today, and we have some certification classes that you can pay for flour and gluten, for minor and major ingredients, and more coming very, very soon. Please go and check that out, and as always, happy baking.